Today I'm going to be giving a summary of the book of Scarlet Plague. The Scarlet Plague takes place in the year of 2073, 60 years after a plague takes out a majority of the human population. The plague was incurable and the victims would die in minutes. The sickness would start with an increased heartbeat and body heat. Then a scarlet rash appears all over the body. The disease would cause convulsions and numbness. Then, after death, the victim's body would fall to pieces, helping the rapid spread of the disease. James Howard Smith, who is referred to as Granzer, is a survivor of the plague. And throughout the story, Granzer tries to tell his grandsons about how life was before the plague. The grandsons, Edwin, Harelip, and Ho-Ho, have a hard time grasping the idea of life before the plague and cannot understand how things were before, such as technology. Anytime Granzer explains anything dealing with technology, the grandsons mock him and cannot fathom what the technology was. Granzer was a professor when the plague struck, and he tells his story of surviving not only the plague, but the downfall of humanity. The plague quickly made its way towards the Granzer's residency, and he saw the first case in a young woman in his own classroom. While everyone fled, Granzer stayed in the class to watch what he knew to unfold. After her death, he realized that no one wanted to be around him because he was exposed. The whole campus fled, and no one was in sight. He isolated himself until it was apparent that he was not infected. Once the communication was knocked out, civilization turned against themselves and rioted the city. Granzer and 47 other uninfected took refuge in a chemistry classroom. Over time, the 400 gradually kept decreasing, either from being infected with the plague, sacrificing themselves, or had fallen at the hands of the savages outside. Eventually, all that was left was Granzer. He kept with him a pony and 2 dogs. He later on captured himself a horse. Him and the animals traveled to Yosemite, where he found refuge in a hotel and stayed there for 3 years. After the 3 years, Granzer set off looking for any survivors. He found a man named Schaffer, to which he found out later was not a good man at all. He had forced a woman named Vesta to be his wife and slave. He spent 3 weeks with these people and wanted to help Vesta, but he was afraid because Schaffer was a brute. Eventually, he went on his way searching for others. He came across 18 people at the brickyard at Glen Ellen. Granzer became the 19th member of the Santa Rose tribe, before 2 more were added. The tribes intermingled and married and had children in an attempt to rebuild society. After his telling of his story, he warns his grandsons about the medicine men. He informs the boys that he had left the books in the cave on telegraph keys and on a key to the alphabet in hope that one day man will be able to read again. At the end of the story, Granzer and the 3 boys decide to head back to camp, where they spot a herd of wild horses running alongside the beach. Although the story claims it is because the mountain lions are driving them out, I believe it is a symbol of hope.